Hello everyone, I'm driving across the United States, and this is the intro video for my trip. Hey everyone, my name is Hayata Takashita, and I'm a landscape photographer traveling to our wonderful national parks and public lands. So I have the opportunity to drive across the United States from late August to mid-September. I have about 4 weeks to do this. Now for this video, I won't get into why I have this time available. If you're interested, just let me know in the comments. I really want to keep the focus of this video on the trip planning itself. So to follow me as I go on this trip, Instagram will be the best place to get a real-time feed of my travels, through its stories and posts. Now, I know a lot of people don't use Instagram, so there will be a travel blog website. Now, this will actually be the main place to get updates. It'll be a little bit more curated, and we'll have videos and photos and such. Okay. And now, finally, YouTube is where the videos will be hosted. Now, YouTube doesn't really lend itself for stills or photos, right? So it won't have all the information. But you can still follow that channel because I'll give you a little reminder of my trip. So to get the links to all those places, it depends on what you're viewing this on. So now if you're viewing this on the travel blog website already, the links will be kind of above the video. Right? Now if you're viewing this on YouTube, the links will be below the video in the description. Right? And then if you're following me on Instagram, then you have to go to my link in bio, which will take you to the blog, and then the links will be there. Okay, so on to the details of my trip. Now there are 2 key stops I want to make. The first is Yellowstone National Park in the west, and the second is Great Smoky Mountains National Park in the east. Those are 2 places I've always wanted to go, and this is my chance to get there. Hey, so I forgot to mention something while I was doing this recording in my living room. So this is being done via voiceover. So if the audio sounds a little bit different, that's why. So I wanted to mention that I want to spend 3 full days at each park. So that's 1 arrival day, then 3 full days, and then depart the following day. So that gives me 3 full days to explore these 2 parks. That's probably still not enough to take it all in, but that's about the max I could spare for this trip. So now back to the regular recording. Now I don't have any places picked out in between, and I'm thinking basically I have to play that by ear as I go. So now before I talk about the individual spots, let's go to my planning spreadsheet. Right? So I planned out the route on this Google Sheets, so let's go through that. So here's the spreadsheet. The departure date is August 25th from Folsom. I ignore the days of waypoint column for the moment. Now the distance to the next waypoint. Now what I did was I went to Google Maps and got the distance to the next waypoint, which is Wells, Nevada. Now Wells, Nevada is like halfway between Folsom and Yellowstone. Right? And then also column F, time to the next waypoint. Google tells me it's 7 hours. Column G, just saying that it takes 1 day basically to get there, and that's used for the calculation of the arrival date for the following waypoint, which is Wells, Nevada. Now Wells, Nevada, that's 380 miles, and it takes about 6 hours to get to Yellowstone, right, which is again 1 travel day. And then I get to Yellowstone on August 26th. Right? I mentioned before I want to spend 3 full days there, so that's what column D is about. But then once I'm through with Yellowstone, the distance to the next waypoint is 1,800 miles. So the next waypoint is Great Smoky Mountains National Park. As I mentioned before, I haven't planned stops in between, so that's why this spreadsheet doesn't have that. But Google tells me that it's about 28 miles, or 28 hours, to travel those 1,800 miles. And at 6 hours a day, that's about 5 days. Now, I wanted to give myself some buffer time because I may stop different places or I may have some sort of change in plan. So That's what column H is about. It adds 2 more days to that travel time. So that puts me at September 5th for arriving at Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And I'll spend the 3 days there. And then after that is Long Island, which is 778 miles, about 12 hours drive. So I'll give myself about 2 days to do that. So that is a total of 16 days. Right? So now if you Google this, right, most places say that it will take about 6 days of traveling 8 hours a day. Now I personally want to travel like 6 hours a day, right? So it'll be longer than that. And then a friend of mine actually took this trip also. I mean, not the same exact route, but took about 12 days, and he didn't really stop as often, right? So I'm taking 16 days, so it sounds about right. I have some wiggle room there. If it takes longer, that's okay. Right? So so that's the plan in terms of driving. Okay, so what am I going to do at each park? Right? So I mentioned I wanted to spend 3 full days at each park. Right? So now I've not been to these places, and I don't want to miss out on the experience of it. So and I'm a photographer, right? That's what I like to do. But I don't want to get immersed in that and miss out on the tourist opportunities. So I'm planning on spending about 2/3 of the time being a tourist, and then 1/3 of the time being a photographer. Now, if something comes up while I'm doing the tourist thing, I'm obviously going to take a shot, stop or whatever, and do that work. But it's not like I can do this every year or anything like that. So I want to enjoy the experience as well. Now, if anybody's interested in the gear that I'm taking, there'll be a separate video for that. So watch out for that. So where am I staying? Right. So I mentioned before, I haven't picked out individual spots along the way, but I have got reservations out through to the end of the Yosemite leg of this trip. Right. Now, it's 4 nights there. So the first 3 nights, I'm going to be staying in this tent camping location. Right. So the tents are already set up. It's got beds and stuff. It's basically glamping. I'm going out into the wilderness, so I figured I might get some flavor of that experience. But it's not hardcore like backpackers and stuff like that, and it's not even a KOA, right? So, but it seemed like a good choice for this trip, and it's also quite a bit cheaper, right? Now for that 4th night, I am staying at a hotel or a lodge type of thing. I want to be able to get really washed up and get rested and stuff. Have some creature comforts before I make that long trip to the east. Right now, this hotel or lodge is near the south entrance of the park, and that's also where Grand Teton National Park is. I've always wanted to go there also. Now I have this time, but it's still not an infinite amount of time, so I have to make choices. But if I can get to Grand Tetons, that'd be great. I will make reservations for Great Smoky Mountains before I leave. I just want to do a little bit more research about the places to visit and the best places to stay. So finally, before finishing up this video, let's talk about what I'm driving. Okay, so I'm going to drive a Subaru Forester. It is actually my mother's Subaru Forester. I mentioned my parents are in Long Island, but my niece is in California right now doing an internship. So we had the car shipped out to California. So now when her internship finishes, she'll be dropping that off to me here in Folsom, and then I will drive that back to Long Island. Yeah, so that's my trip. It's a rough plan. When it comes to the photo stuff, I'm pretty detail oriented and do a lot of planning. But for the general travel and vacation type stuff, I actually play it pretty loose, and I like it that way. Right, so now, so that's it. If you want to keep up with how I'm doing on this trip, so do the subscribe or the follow or bookmark the travel blog website, or do whatever else these days that you do to keep track of people on social media. So thanks.